the genesis of this? It was one of those lists that hasn't been done that you felt we needed to do.
Exactly that. I was watching the Manchester United Arsenal game, the tunnel match at Highbury, and John O'Shea obviously pops up right at the end with that brilliant goal, just dinking it in, the celebration of shock or trying to be Eric Cantona, didn't quite pull it off. And I thought, I wonder what's the best goal an Irish player has ever scored in the Premier League? Because that one, in terms of what it meant and in terms of context, was right up there. So I went on a bit of a deep dive. I watched as many goals as I possibly could, and I eventually managed to whittle it down to 10 after quite a lot of stress, quite a few late nights, and I have stumbled upon what I'm very sure is the definitive list. I will not be on tomorrow morning, Ger, trying to change this list just because somebody more intelligent than me forced me to change it at the time.
So context is important. Explain to us what are your criteria?
Personal opinion is the number one criteria here, Ger. The context is always difficult when it comes to great goals because, so Diego Maradona's goal against England at the World Cup is the greatest goal of all time because of the context. So other people have scored similar goals where they've ran from inside their own half, but that was in a game of such importance and of everything else that happened. It feels that the context of that sort of differentiates it. Whereas this context was somewhat important, but I think just pure skill level and pure brilliance, because like some of the goals that didn't make it in, if we were going on context, was, so Stephen Hunt, you might remember, scored this brilliant goal for Wolves last minute of the season pretty much to keep them in the Premier League. Ball comes from just on the edge of the area and he curls this exquisite left-footed shot into the top corner. And I was really trying to figure out, should I put that in because of its importance, to be able to do that under such pressure when it meant so much to so many people. But I just couldn't put it in. Likewise, Aaron Connolly, remember his second goal against Spurs? First ever Premier League start. Duff-esque, gets it out on the left-hand side, cuts in, brilliant finish. Again, not quite there. So there was a lot of personal opinion. There was a lot of like team goals. It was more of an individual thing. I think I watched every goal Damien Duff has scored in the Premier League, desperately trying to find one that I could put in. And like he's finished off some of the great team goals when he was with Chelsea in those couple of seasons under Mourinho. Like the amount of flowing counterattacks that he finishes off. But individually, I'm not quite sure there was one that stood out. So ultimately, it was personal opinion. There's a lot of long-range efforts, which I would have preferred not to have had. Like another goal I left out was Shane Long, you might remember, for West Brom.
Go on, tell me.
A couple of years ago, the ball, I think it was a Monday Night Football, ball long, hooped ball forward about 50 yards, comes over his shoulder. The most exquisite control you've ever seen. Takes it down, steps inside, left-footed, finish. So that's another one that was close. I saw a goal from Seamus Coleman was put straight back up yesterday when I put the, again, you click on the account and it's an Everton supporter giving you abuse because Seamus Coleman isn't on it. But I'm fairly confident standing over my list.
Okay, do you want to talk us through your list here?
Yeah, so number 10, Jeff Hendrick. Has a bit of both. Has the skill level you would want with the control. This is for Burnley against Bournemouth. This is December 2016. He's first season in the Premier League. It's just a few months after Euro 2016. We think this is the guy who's going to drive us forward for Ireland for the next few years, and sort of showed here all the ability he has. Close control, and then this volley straight into the top corner from about 25 yards out.
Next is Ian Hart.
Quality finish. Ian Hart, free kicks are always difficult.
Why are free kicks are excellent? Like he's the best purveyor of a left-footed free kick that we've seen in the Premier League. Like his free kick record stands comparison with almost anybody in the history of world football.
Yeah, and this one was the pick of the bunch because it was obviously Leeds, Manchester United at a time when Leeds, I think this was the season they were just starting to have a little bit of a decline. They were 4-1 down when he scored this goal. Everyone should remember it. The sun is shining, live on Sky, and he's almost 30 yards out. Dennis Irwin scored a brilliant free kick for Manchester United as well, but I think Hart's one was better, maybe because it's just, again, it's Manchester United, adds a little bit more context to it.
I mean, I think the fact that it's against Man United or the fact that it's against a title rival should absolutely elevate these things. Well, let's keep going here because...
Number 8, John O'Shea. The goal we've just spoken about.
This is very low down.
One of the greatest Premier League games of all time. And it's a weird one. I'm not a Manchester United supporter, but I remember watching this at the time and having this weird sense of pride that one of us in one of the great games had popped up and scored this goal. Sort of like in the 70s and 80s when all our dads went from being a Liverpool supporter to an Arsenal supporter to a Manchester United supporter, depending on which of them had the most Irish players at the time, that John O'Shea could do this.
This is the thing in
So
beauty.
that's number 8.
So this is all on offtheball.com. I should tell everybody we've helpfully, so you don't have to YouTube them all. Nathan's already done that for you. Number 7 is Robbie Keane against for Liverpool against Arsenal. He's on the list twice, as you'd expect.
He could have been on it 3 or 4 times. There was one goal left off against Chelsea, you might remember, where the ball just sort of pops up to him about 25 yards out. It's the last minute of the game to the win 4-3, and he just whacks it in top corner. That was very close to getting on the list. This is, obviously, his time at Liverpool was a bit of a disaster. This was the moment where you thought maybe it was all going to turn around. Again, just a long ball forward over his shoulder, and the ability to hit it first time on the volley as it's bouncing on the run, I think thoroughly deserves its place on the list at number 7.
Yeah, I actually think it's better than the one you've gone for him later on. But anyway, Stephen Carr, Spurs against Manchester United again. Against Manchester United, feels like it should be higher up. This is the Manchester United treble winning team of 1999.
Yeah, just an absolute rocket. Right foot,
Woo!
smack, top corner.
Thunder bastards.
Stop that. He scored another brilliant goal that I was very tempted to put in when he was with Birmingham. Similar style, runs up the right wing, just head down, tears past everybody, and then chips the keeper, almost Cantona-like, chips the keeper. But the more you watch it, the more it looks like it's a cross, because he sort of throws his hands up into the air as he kicks the ball in I've miskicked this, and it just dinks over the top of the keeper into the top corner. But this is one of those goals you always remember. Again,
it's not
unstoppable against Manchester United.
It's not Schmeichel goals.
A lot of goals against Manchester United.
It's not Schmeichel goals, which is probably diminishes it a tiny bit for me. The next goal is way too far down the list. This is
why? Because it's Aston Villa.
No, because it's a beautiful piece of. It has everything. It's a team goal. It has Paul McGrath in it for a start, so that's super bonus points. I mean, the fact that it is Villa, but it's also it's a proper title decider against a team. So everything is on the line in this game,
and it is past Peter Schmeichel as well.
It's Steve Staunton. It's peak. It's one of the peak Man United teams. It's their first peak, and Paul McGrath with a beautiful bit of skill on the right wing.
If you watch the 5 minutes leading into this goal, Villa are all over them. United cannot get out of their own half. It's like watching Liverpool at times this season, where they've just suffocated the opposition, and Paul McGrath goes on this marauding run up the right-hand side, cross in, head it clear, keep recycling possession, and eventually it comes to Stan, who started the move at the very beginning when United had been on the attack, playing this brilliant 1-2 up the left-hand side, comes to him almost at the angle on the left-hand side of the penalty area, and it's just such a beautiful outside of the boot, bending shot. Like, Schmeichel is at full stretch, and he's just reaching for air because he cannot get near it.
It was a Sunday afternoon lunchtime kickoff. I remember going out to the golf club to watch it with my dad, and it finishes 1-1, and you're like, this might actually happen for Villa. And then things got derailed pretty quickly afterwards. But I actually think context matters. So next it's Sunderland against Wigan Athletic.
There's never been more context to a game than Sunderland against Wigan Athletic. Daryl Murphy. This started lower on the list again because of the context side of things, but then you just keep watching it and go, dear God. Yeah, it's an unbelievable strike.
It's a great strike, but, you know, context matters. Steve Staunton's is a great strike against Peter Schmeichel. Who is the Wigan goalkeeper here?
Well, I think Kevin Kilbane may be on the Wigan team.
Kevin Kilbane might be the left back up against him, giving him all that space, ushering him inside onto his left foot to shoot. Yeah, I've seen you in training, Murphy. You're not going to score this.
That was a massive regret of his. Yeah, it's just a wonder goal. It's an incredible strike. So I think it definitely deserves its place on the list.
It deserves its place on the list. It should be further down. Stephen Ireland, Manchester City against Reading. I mean, it's a great goal, but it's like, come on, it's against Reading for Man City.
It's the 93rd minute. It's pretty much the last kick of the game, and again, it's the technique, how he gets his foot up so high to smash this volley into the top corner. And this is Stephen Ireland, 21. We thought this guy, it's November 2007. This is the dream. Like, this guy is going to guide us to European Championship, World Cup for the next decade. But again, I think because of the timing of the goal, like, match winner, last kick of the game.
Against Reading.
And just technique.
At home.
But I don't think there's, I don't think there's many other players on the list who could have scored that goal.
But Steve Staunton scores his at Old Trafford in a title decider. John O'Shea scores his to win a game in like a massive game. This is
O'Shea's the winner here. O'Shea, like it's the if we're going to use the Maradona logic, like and
we're not just using the Maradona logic, is what I'm saying.
We're using Nathan's own personal matrix.
Exactly.
How did it make him feel? How did it make him feel when he watched it?
You can't put a price on that.
Number two.
Number two, Stephen Reid. Blackburn against Wigan. Again against Wigan. December 2005. 189 kilometres per hour they somehow managed to work out is how fast the ball went. The ball just pops up to him 25, 30 yards out. He's running at full speed. Like, this is Stephen Reid. I think it was his best season probably with Blackburn. He played pretty much every game. He's coming at full power and whack. Like, it's unstoppable.
Do you remember a shot against Cameroon off the bench? That's kind of what that reminds me of. And Jesus, again, another career that would have been absolutely sensational if it just hadn't been for injuries, because he could actually kick the ball from the halfway line fairly accurately. And so number one, I think, is very disappointing. It's Robbie Keane against Blackburn Rovers, and it's a good Robbie Keane goal, but it's just a little bit cheeky, and it's grand compared to some of the other goals I've seen him score.
Well, pick the goals that are ahead of this, because so my criteria for this was nobody else on the list could have scored this goal. It's genius. The close control, the little flick over the top of Robbie Savage's head, back onto his right foot, checks in on his left, and then just smashes it into the back of the net. It is a brilliant, brilliant goal.
It's an excellent goal, right? But I actually think the Liverpool goal was more aesthetically pleasing. He kind of scuffs the shot. It's not smashed in. It's like horrific defending, and
it's horrific defending because he's made them look like idiots.
Right. Okay.
With his brilliance.
I actually don't. I don't know. Is there not an amazing goal that he scores for Coventry? Is it not against Arsenal? Is it not an amazing Robbie Keane goal for Coventry against Arsenal?
Not as good as that.
I'm pretty sure there is. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I think I know the one you're talking
Robbie
about.
Keane, Coventry.
While you're looking up that, like Nathan, you said a John O'Shea goal made you proud to feel Irish, even though you're not a Manchester United fan. How does that not constitute a number one spot if we're using the How I Feel matrix?
That's just one part of the matrix. It's a matrix home. There's many parts of the matrix.
Right,
I have to ignore my personal feelings at a certain stage and go with just the skill on show.
What has the response been like?
Well, the response.
Robbie Keane against Arsenal. What a goal. I've just seen it. And this is the Arsenal team with Perez and Lundberg.
Whatever.
And Tony Adams. He's up against Tony Adams and Keown. He's like a 17-year-old.
Is this Stephen's Day 99?
Oh, he's running away from goal and he hooks it with his right foot, opposite direction, Seaman, full length. That's one of the best goals I've ever seen. It's not even his best goal, Nathan. It's not even his third best goal. No. I'm not having that. That is the best goal that Robbie Keane has ever scored. He scored it for Coventry. You're exactly right. Nobody else on this team in Irish football could have scored this goal, where he's running away from the goal and hooks it perfectly into the one spot against the Invincibles. Like
here.
What?
Here.
No.
Coventry 3, Arsenal 2. It's a winner.
No, that's 3 years before the Invincibles.
Sorry. It's the other team. It's the better team.
It is an unbelievable goal. It is an absolutely unbelievable goal. He should use his left foot there, but he uses his right and somehow manages to direct that into the opposite corner.
You've screwed it up again, Nathan. Congratulations. That's twice in 2 weeks. Well done.
Speaking of Arsenal, John Giles is picking his all-time Arsenal 11 on the show tonight. I had a conversation with him yesterday, and you start thinking of your all-time Arsenal 11, automatically in your midfield you've got Overmars, Perez, Vieira and Petit.
Liam Brady. Gotta have Liam Brady today. Right, we got to go. More controversy coming your way, and as far as Nathan's telling us, from 7 o'clock tonight on Off the Ball on News Talk. Right, let's move on, because we have Monaghan's Mount Rushmore standing by. Before